All right, good evening, everyone. All right, we got to do that again. We're in Flatbush, so I'm gonna say it one more time. Good evening, everyone. So my name is Jarrell Gray, and I'm the chair of Community Board 14, which represents the neighborhoods of Flatbush and Midwood. And I hope everyone is doing well this week. First, I want to thank King's Theater for opening their doors to host our public hearing today. Um, it's a pleasure to see a full house. Many of you here active, engaged, and present on this Wednesday night. And by a show of hands, whose first time is it in King's Theater? All right. So yeah, I wish I was catching the Jodeci concert on Sunday. This means that I have to come back, but I wish we're here under some better circumstances. And I know the Knicks game starts in less than 30 minutes, but I know this is a little bit more important than the Knicks game, something affecting our neighborhood, and I appreciate you taking the time out to be here and sharing your thoughts and opinions. So we have 2 hours this evening to hear from the Department of Social Services, as well as Councilmember Rita Joseph, and most importantly, from you, the community, to express your concerns, perspectives, and feedback. I also want to take a point of privilege to invite you to our monthly board meeting, which is happening next Monday, May 11th at 7 p.m. at the East Midwood Jewish Center. That is next Monday, May 11th at 7 p.m. at the East Midwood Jewish Center, where you can come to learn more about our work and stay engaged with Community Board 14. And we do have a very hard stop at 8:30 p.m. We have to get out of here, but I hope to hear from many of you as possible. So this public hearing is called to order at 6:33 p.m. on May 6, 2026. The purpose of this hearing is to invite public testimony by community members with respect to the Department of Social Services plan to open a 130-bed shelter for single adult males experiencing homelessness to be operated by Project Renewal. Members of the public were asked to pre-register with the CB14 district office to deliver testimony, but still can sign up with staff on
The long table in the lobby,
at the long table in the lobby.
and they must fill out one of these forms.
And we have a form for you to fill out if you do want to submit public testimony. CB14 will accept additional written testimony up until 3 p.m. on May 11th, just before our regularly monthly meeting, where any board position on an advisory recommendation will be ratified by the full board. So I do want to take a second to acknowledge some of our local representatives in the room. We are joined by Ellie Slavin from Congresswoman Yvette Clark's office, as well as Taisha Allen from Assemblymember Rashad Hermlin's office, and then the Councilmember Rita Joseph and staff will be walking in shortly. With that, first we will hear from representatives from the Department of Social Services and Department of Homeless Services. We are joined by Jamar Hooks, Deputy Commissioner for Intergovernmental Affairs, Yuri Sanchez, Assistant Deputy Commissioner for Intergovernmental and Legislative Affairs, Abigail Aberdeen, Brooklyn Borough Director, Intergovernmental and Legislative Affairs, and Rosie Jellin, apologies if I pronounced incorrectly, Assistant Commissioner at the City of New York Department of Homeless Services.
So good evening. Thank you for having us here tonight. I'm Jamar Hooks, Deputy Commissioner for Intergovernmental Affairs. And I'm joined by my colleagues, as was mentioned, Rosie Gellin, Assistant Commissioner for DHS, Yuri Sanchez, ADC, Assistant Deputy Commissioner for Intergovernmental Affairs, Abigail Aberdeen from Intergovernmental Affairs, and we're joined by our provider partner, Project Renewal, which I will pass to in a second, and they could introduce themselves. But again, thank you for having us and giving us an opportunity to deliver this presentation on our programs and services and what you can come to expect from our provider and our clients once the shelter is open. After our presentation, we're happy to answer any questions that you may have. Jamie?
Thank you, Jamar. My name is Jamie Madden. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Project Renewal. Project Renewal has been working in the homeless service space since the 1960s, and our mission is to build supportive communities where people achieve dignity and independence, renewing lives with health, homes, and jobs. And health, homes, and jobs is really, that's the cornerstone of how we run our programs. We provide emergency, transitional, and permanent housing to over 4,000 people a year. We are also one of New York City's largest healthcare providers. And we provide comprehensive behavioral health and medical services to individuals experiencing homelessness. And in addition, we have a job training program, which is incorporated into all aspects of our programming so that we can get people jobs quickly and keep them housed permanently. So that's the overview of our organization, and I want to pass it to my colleagues here to talk a little bit more about the services that we'll provide specifically at this site.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry for my voice. I'm Katie Bauer. I'm the Chief Housing and Shelter Officer at Project Renewal. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the 100-bed shelter and the services that will be on site at the shelter. All of our shelters have a large social service team. We will have a program director, a director of social services. Every client will be assigned a case manager. The case manager from day one will be engaging with the client on their goals, whether it be getting copies of their IDs, getting an updated physical, and then they'll be working with them and connecting them to our housing coordinator. Our housing coordinator's jobs 24/7 is to work with clients on permanency. We're going to work with them from the moment they step through the door to establish their goals and to continue working to get them out of the shelter, because the goal is not to keep them in the emergency shelter, it's to find them supportive or independent living. We will also have a recreational specialist on site. They're going to be providing programming within the building. They're going to offer financial management, housing readiness. They'll do connection to community resources, recreational activities, and community outings as well. 24/7, our program is staffed 24/7 by the operations team. So we'll have an assistant director, an operations coordinator, and what we call residential aides. Residential aides are there daily to make sure that our residents are doing okay. They're going to get them the toiletries that they need. They're going to make sure they have the bedding that they need in their rooms. They're going to assist them if their case manager is not on site, and they'll be there 24/7. Additionally, we will have healthcare staff on site. We will have a part-time licensed practical nurse, an LPN, and a psychiatric nurse practitioner. Again, these are just additional services that will be on site in addition to the services Jamie described that Project Renewal already runs. All of our clients will have access to the services even though they're not on site. I will turn it over to Charlie to talk a little bit about security.
Thank you, Katie. My name is Charles Mulham. Good evening, everyone. I'm the Director of Security for Project Renewal. Hopefully I can answer any of your questions regarding the security of the site. Just so you know, like at all sites, security has to be incorporated into the site. In this case, is no exception. We'll have Arrow Security. It's a company that we have a long-standing relationship with them. We'll be having 3 guards along with 1 supervisor, monitoring the entire site 24/7, 365. Like all shelters, we'll also have an access control. At access control, we'll have a magnetometer, which is a machine like you just walked through when you came in here today. That's a machine that detects any metals on your body. We also have an X-ray machine. Again, that's common at shelter sites, along with a wand. That's just an extra level of security for us. Our guards observe, detect, report. They do hourly house runs from vertical patrols from the top to bottom, and they work in conjunction with our residential aides, our RAs, in securing the site. So again, I thank you for the invitation, and I welcome any questions.
And in addition to the security, we have a good neighbor policy, which is standard with DHS sites. Our good neighbor policy sets the expectation that residents conduct themselves as neighbors of the neighborhood and in the larger community. We are committed to building and maintaining good relationships with everybody in the community, and we really do mean that. We have, examples of that across our other sites. And in terms of next steps, we do anticipate opening in the summer of this year. We will be creating a CAB, which will include representation from this community and will speak to concerns and how the operation of the shelter is happening. We will also have a 24/7 phone number, which we will make available to everyone as soon as it's established. And with that, I think that concludes our presentation.
All right, thank you. Next, we will be hearing from Councilmember Rita Joseph.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening. I'm Councilmember Joseph. I represent this great district. First, let me thank DSS Representative Community Board 14 for being here today. I want to be clear from the outset. This is not an opposition to providing shelter, care, and dignity to individuals experiencing homelessness. I believe deeply in that responsibility. My district has demonstrated that commitment time and time again. It is also important to note that this is also not a blanket opposition to shelters in my community. On the other hand, I'm here to say that equity must guide our decision, and right now, equity is missing in this conversation. The proposed men's shelter at 1024 Flatbush Avenue would add to a concentration of a facility, such as a supportive housing residence and a men's shelter within a few hundred feet of one another. This proposed shelter would be the third addition within a 2-block radius. This community has carried more than its fair share. And while we continue to show up with compassion, we cannot ignore the real impact that overconcentration has on quality of life, public safety, and community stability. We have other shelters in my district. We don't hear that much about them. They're mostly quiet, but here we've seen increase in emergency calls, ongoing sanitation concerns, and residents, both housed and unhoused, raising serious issues about safety and conditions. These are not abstract concerns. They are the lived reality of families, older adults, and small business owners in Flatbush. Adding a new shelter to this mix makes no sense for this neighborhood or for the men who would be housed here. We recently opened a new AIM school program at the corner of Flatbush and Cortelyou. This is a highly structured early childhood center designed for students on the autism spectrum. It's the first in our district, the first of its kind in Central Brooklyn. And this very space does not have a playground. The kids go out on guided walks around the corner in the community because the nearest playground is on Cortelyou and Rugby Road. And I know this district very well. Why? Because I taught in it for 22 years. If we are serious about solving homelessness, we must be serious about how we do it. That means investing in social services that go beyond just opening doors. It means fully staffing the Department of Social Service so outreach, case management, and housing placements are not delayed or under-resourced. It means ensuring every shelter has the support in place to help residents transition to permanent housing safely and successfully. And it means having a holistic plan to address quality of life concerns, partnering with agencies, community boards, and local stakeholders so that both shelters, residents, and surrounding neighborhoods can thrive. We cannot continue to place burdens on the same community while others are left out of the solution. We want to hear other communities also step up and carry their share. To have a shelter directly across from a historic cultural institution in Flatbush makes no sense because you would never put this in Times Square. And just steps away from a neighborhood of long-standing Black homeowners is inequitable nor acceptable. And that is not fairness, that is imbalance. So today, I'm willing to call on the administration to pause, to listen, and to lead with equity. Work with us to identify other sites in other areas in District 40 to distribute responsibilities fairly across the city. And to work with us to provide the dignity of every New Yorker, both seeking shelters and those who call this neighborhood home. And I represent the community that's sitting here proudly. And they know I go hard for them and I fight for them. And when we heard this, we wanted a conversation. That's why they're here today. They're all here. Because Derrier Place, we went through hell with that place. And we don't want the same thing. It's finally calming down. That doesn't mean it's peaceful, it's good, but we're working through it. And then to add this on right now, unacceptable. Where Lion King is playing on Times Square, I would never see a shelter there. So why is it acceptable for my community? Black and brown communities, why? Southern Brooklyn has no shelters. Staten Island has no shelters. So why should Central Brooklyn take them from Manhattan and bring them down here? Unacceptable. And I told the administration that, and I spoke to the mayor. So we're gonna have to find another way, but this is not the one. Thank you.
So just to reiterate, this is not about vilifying our unhoused neighbors. In fact, it is even a privilege for all of us to be here today speaking on this issue while many people outside of these walls are struggling unhoused or dealing with challenges that we may not fully understand. However, our office has legal and procedural concerns about the placement of this shelter. At this moment, we are unsure whether DHS has completed an independent fair share analysis, which determines whether facilities like homeless shelters are being equitably distributed across neighborhoods. We are requesting an Article 9 statement, which explains how the fair share criteria was applied in this case and provides evidence that comments from the community board were meaningfully considered. CB14 is committed and always has been committed to doing our part to support our unhoused neighbors in New York City. But this is not a question about presence. It is a question about procedural integrity and racial equity. This will be CB14's fourth shelter located in the predominantly Black and brown section of Flatbush, directly across the street from a key neighborhood anchor that we're currently sitting in, King's Theater. It reflects a broader citywide pattern where we see disparities in placement, where neighborhoods like East New York hosting many shelters, while others like Bay Ridge are hosting none. So we're calling you today to work with us. In fact, you're legally required to work with us. We are the most local form of local government that directly engage with community. Work with us to identify a more appropriate location within our district while continuing to serve the needs of all New Yorkers. And the last point that I want to make, in fact, I want to ask, is there a representative from the Red Roof Inn in the room? No, right? No, right? The reason why I ask that is because we may be seeing a concerning pattern, similar to what our neighbors in Crown Heights are experiencing on Empire, where hotel chains are securing city shelter contracts in Black and brown neighborhoods in New York City. This is an emerging business practice that New York State should be paying close attention to. And I thank you, and we're going to transition into the public hearing period. So now we will hear from members of the public. Please state your name for the record, whether you're a resident of CB14, a business order, or if you're representing an organization. You will have 2 minutes to speak. 2 minutes? Yes, per person. 2 minutes per person. And you may not yield your time to another speaker. Members of organizations are asked to be represented by one speaker. So once again, I think we're doing really good on time, but we do have a hard stop at 8:30. And I want to bring up our first registered speaker. That would be Kate Hessler, followed by Emma Durkin.
Sorry, Kate, before you can, anybody who plans to speak, please fill out one of these and bring it to me over here. Thank you.
Hello, and welcome to King's Theater. I really appreciate such a strong turnout tonight from the community. My name is Kate Hessler, and I have the honor of being the general manager of this beautiful 1929 historic building. I've worked on this block since 2019. I'm not here to oppose housing. I am here because I have come to love this community and this historic venue. How could you not? I am deeply concerned about what city leaders are planning for this neighborhood that is already struggling. Flatbush is carrying more than its share. There are 9 shelters within Council District, with several others directly on our borders. 9. Not aware of many other districts that have that many in such a close area. And yet, here we are, being asked to take on a 10th in the midst of one of the busiest corridors and commercial areas of Flatbush Avenue. King's Theater was brought back from absolute ruin with a $95 million investment from the city and state because this community deserved something extraordinary. My company, ATG Entertainment, believes in that investment enough to continue to commit millions in private capital to keep this building going and ensure that it remains a place for unforgettable shows, graduations, and appearances on screens large and small. In FY25, we welcomed over 200,000 people into this building. Last year, that number unfortunately fell to 177,000. We are working hard to reverse that trend in the most competitive entertainment market in the world. There are new venues opening up all over, all the time. Our goal for FY27 is to reverse that trend, and we are shooting for admits of 225,000 and at least 100 events. Every one of those visitors is a potential customer for the businesses along this corridor. But we are more than just a for-profit business. Each year, we partner with the council member, Erasmus High School, Church Flatbush Bid, and many other community partners to host a King's Cares Thanksgiving luncheon, where on Thanksgiving Day, we serve 500-600 hot meals to people in need who may not have anywhere to spend their holiday or any family or friends to spend it with. We give them a place to do that here. We hold a back-to-school celebration each August where we supply hundreds of local children with backpacks, notebooks, school supplies to get them sent back and excited to learn. Okay, I'm gonna go fast. But what makes all of that possible is revenue. And we need to make sure our patrons and clients feel safe to come back. Right now, they don't feel that way. Our patrons are regularly harassed, including around Dorea Place is littered with trash, human waste, and open drug use, all within 200 feet of our entrance. We document it, our staff responds to it, and our audiences and clients, they notice it. The proposed facility across the street from our doors would further compound this already difficult situation. I'm asking this body to look at the full picture. The need is real, but so is the damage. A neighborhood cannot absorb shelter after shelter without consequence, and the community is already living that consequence every day. Protect the city's investment, protect the corridor, protect the people who have built something worth protecting here. Thank you for your time.
Next, we'll have Emma Durkin.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Emma Durkin, and I'm the Deputy General Manager here at King's Theater. I stand here today to entreat you not to convert the Red Roof Plus into a shelter. The live entertainment business is extremely competitive, especially in New York, and having a second shelter within a block of King's Theater will be an absolute detractor for business. We already deal with residents of the existing shelter on Duryea stashing weapons and contraband on our property, and guests have already experienced harassment from those residents, and our clients are not getting the premium experience that they should expect. Having another shelter directly facing King's Theater will not only serve to further the unease of our staff, guests, and clients. Please do not misunderstand me when I say all of this, as I do believe that everyone deserves the dignity of having a roof over their head, and I am very supportive of housing for all. But King's role as an economic pillar in this community will be actively diminished through this initiative. I urge you to reconsider the location of this shelter. I not only speak as a representative of King's, but as someone who has spent years in this vibrant community, where residents deserve a strong quality of life without the exhaustion of constantly calling 911 and 311, where homeowners can see their investments appreciate and pass along that generational wealth to their families, and where community members feel that their feelings and voices are seen and heard. Thank you.
Next, we'll have Samantha Bernadine, followed by Roberto Rivera.
A little taller. Good evening, everyone. My name is Samantha Bernadine. I'm here as an educator. I teach in one of the schools at Erasmus Hall campus that's down on Flatbush. But I also have an experience of working in the shelter system. I used to direct permanent housing programs in Brooklyn. And I have to say that an increase in shelter in this neighborhood is not going to solve the housing issue. The city has continuously ignored the voices of this community. I ask that you reconsider the idea of having a shelter here. As was stated, we are flooded with individuals who are seeking resources and not getting them. Several months ago, we sat in the same room here with another shelter provider that basically had no explanation as to why the members of their shelter were doing the things they were doing in this community. We don't know your background. And unfortunately, your welcome into our community is not the way I'm pretty sure you want the welcome to be. Consistently, the city of New York has ignored the voices of its people. I am speaking on behalf of my students and my colleagues that during COVID had to walk across individuals, had to basically see people defecate in front of them before starting their school day. What are you going to do? Whether it's safety, whether it's metal detectors, community members here want people who want to stay here. Shelters are supposed to be temporary, not permanent. And unfortunately, in the city of New York, I have worked with individuals who have been in the shelter system for 10, 20, 30 years and have not gotten any kind of services, nor dignity. We in Flatbush want members who want to stay here, who want to be productive. For the members who are in shelters, they want a community that wants them, that welcomes them, and will provide them with resources. I truly, truly ask of you and the city to reconsider this proposal and look at permanent housing, not shelters. Thank you.
Thank you, Samantha.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having everybody here, and I'm very pleased and happy to see everybody from the community here. So that shows that we all are on the same page. It's been quite a ride for me. My name is Roberto Rivera. I'm the owner of FIB Bar and Grill in the corner of King's Theater. It's been quite a ride. I've been there 12 years. And the investment we made with my business partner 12 years ago was to see the upcoming neighborhood. And that being said, it's been, from the very beginning, interesting. It started very well, and then COVID hit. We did the, how do you call it, the outside dinings and all that, which was a huge investment, and it became another shelter for people to hang out, do their needs there. I'm talking about needs, everything that you could think of that we're doing there. My staff feeling very unease, unsafe, overwhelmed with everything that was going on all around. And I've never been able to keep a staff that's steady because they don't feel safe working there. It's been a hassle, and it needs to change. I've never needed a security guard there because everybody's welcome. And actually, this last weekend was the very first time I had a security guard there, because nobody feels like going in anymore. I'm getting a very uncomfortable scene every other day we've called the NYPD several times, 311. Nobody shows up. I know this is something that it needs to get fixed. I have several numbers to call, and it's gotten to a point where I have to say, "Oh,
You're at time, Roberto.
oh, I'm sorry."
But you can finish. Wrap up.
No. So now we have a mental facility now, a shelter, another shelter, just not looking right. Thank you.
Next, we'll have James Dorian, followed by Lauren Collins. And feel free to line up behind the next speaker so we can keep it moving.
Good evening. My name is James Thornton. I pastor the Salem Missionary Baptist Church, which is located at 305 East 21st Street between Albemarle Road and Regent Place. I'm also the president of the 7th Precinct Interfaith Clergy Council. And I'm one that cares about people, But I want to say that I believe that another shelter in this community would decrease the quality of living. We have an aging congregation. Some of them are challenged and are fearful coming to church because of some of the elements that are in the community. And while there is the argument that there will be safety and there will be patrol, we are open every day in the week, 7 days a week. And so we encounter persons who have mental and financial challenges. And to the extent that we can, we try to meet those needs. But I think the real issue is finding transitional housing where people can have permanent housing to live in. I don't know whatever happened to the affordable housing that they had promised in this community so that we, in fact, could have a vibrant, stable community. And as one who grew up in Brooklyn, grew up in Flatbush, and to one who has been evicted as a child, I understand the need. But I do think that this is the wrong move for this community at this time. And I wanted to come to raise my voice to this issue. I believe that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Thank you.
Hello, hi. My name is Lauren Collins. I'm the Executive Director of the Church Flatbush Community Alliance, which is a business improvement district on Flatbush Avenue and on Church Avenue. We represent 460 businesses, several hundred property owners. Most of the businesses are small businesses where people are working long hours with their nephew, with their son, and there are a lot of concerns. First thing, just hearing people talk, I have a feeling that maybe DSS and Project Renewal may feel like, well, we're going to be different. We're going to do a cab. We're going to be responsive. I have been on the cab for the current shelter. My phone is filled with videos and photos that businesses sent, that community members sent. People don't call 311, and we all know why, because it's a broken system that needs to be fixed. I hope you're not looking at that data, but this is not the right location for something that's badly needed. You cannot squish so many people in need in the same community and put this on all these people who've been living here for decades, for absolutely decades. So what we do is we represent these businesses and the properties. We've expanded to represent the community. We are trying to make it clean, safe, and welcoming. And this is just not the right location, even though it may be convenient. I'm so concerned that it's planned for just a few months from now when we have events coming up. There are community things, there are back to school. So I really hope that the city and DSS will please reconsider this location. Thank you.
Next, we'll have Kendall Washington, followed by Michael Pacheco.
Hello, hello. Excuse me about my back turned towards the community. My name is Kendall Washington, and I am the president of Flatbush Allies and Neighbors Block Association. We was established in 2022. And the reason for that is because of the current shelter that is on Duryea Place. We didn't have representation, so I try to do my best to bring that leadership and voice from the community. We've been dealing with a lot. I'm familiar with a few of the faces here because I've seen you at prior meetings that we had at King's Theater. I will say that I am opposed to the shelter coming directly across from King's Theater. One of the reasons is because we haven't had any accountability for the shelters that are here now. So security, you mentioned a lot of things or plans for the new shelter, but there's security at Duryea Place. And there's nothing going on right now. We still have people hanging out in the street. We still have people loitering, trespassing, defecation, urination, violence, confrontation, noise disruption. So even if, because I feel like y'all gonna give me every excuse in the book, and we already heard it before. We already heard it. The thing about it is that the shelter that's there now that we are having meetings with, they like to say, oh, it's not our residents. They like to blame it on supportive housing or the residents next door. And this is the same thing that's going to occur when the new shelter comes in. Nobody want to take accountability. Nobody want to take responsibility for anything. And we haven't had or called 311 so many times since these new shelters came. So it can't be something else besides that. So we understand the program and we are sensitive. And I'm going to echo what Councilmember Rita Joseph said. We are sensitive to the situation, and we're hoping for success for these residents inside the shelter. But because we're seeing the same results, we understand that this is going to be the same type of project. So you're here in present, but I need for you to be here because I feel like you're just here just to have a body to say, oh, we're here from the organization of Department of Homeless Services and DSS. So please, something have to give and give us a chance.
Thank you,
okay?
Kendall. Thank you.
you.
Hi, my name is Michael Pacheco. I just want to say there are already 9 major homeless care facilities in our neighborhood. I think our community has already gone above and beyond with our help. Maybe Staten Island and Bay Ridge can step up now. All right? Yep. As a parent and former educator, I'm concerned about safety and impressionable students. We have a ton of schools around the area, and I get it. I know 130 homeless men that need help, but come on. I'm a retired teacher. I've done the math. 3 security guards, 130 residents. 1 guard to 43 residents. That is not going to help. Come on. Let's be serious. I used to always tell my mother, common sense. 1 guard for 43 residents? Come on. That's not going to do it. Okay? And it's so obvious. I mean, we've done so much in this community. Why can't Staten Island have a homeless shelter? Why can't Bay Ridge have a homeless shelter? Tell me the reason. We all know the reason, right? We know the reason. So let's step up and get this right. This is ridiculous. This community, I mean, look at this beautiful venue. This neighborhood finally gets this wonderful venue that I know increased the economy in the area, right? And then we got the Bedford Square. Do you see that facility? That's gigantic. If the homeless shelter comes, right, and brings down the community, what do you think is going to happen to Bedford Square? That's going to become an eyesore, right? So then the whole neighborhood is going to go down. What's going to happen to this beautiful facility? It's going to close down. We know big places close down. Theaters are closing down. If the neighborhood goes down, that's it. So why can't other communities step up? Tell me why we can't do it in Staten Island and in Bay Ridge, right? Tell me. Tell me. Give us a sound reason. We're all sitting here. We all know the reason, right? I don't get it.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate you. Next, we'll have Yvonne Murray, followed by Orlando Lopez. Say it again? Lopes. Thank you.
I lived in this neighborhood.
Yvonne was first.
I'm sorry. This is Yvonne.
Yeah, Yvonne, please. Yvonne. Oh, okay, perfect. You're good.
Hello, my name is Orlando Lopes. I've lived in this neighborhood since 1960. I just want to mention putting another shelter here. It's been mentioned before, so I'm not going to say it, but I'm going to talk from experience. When we had the migrant problem several years ago, across the street, this place was full with migrants. We had 19 motorcycles parked in front of the place. It looked worse than the OK Corral, just without the horses. We don't need that here. You know what I mean? And with all those motorcycles and the shelters that were already existing, it made it miserable to walk along Flatbush Avenue. This is the main corridor here. This is the jewel of Flatbush Avenue, and we don't need anything tarnishing it. I don't mean to be disrespectful to the people that don't have shelters and places to stay, but this is definitely not the place for it. And when the owner across the street is building next door the same type of a 7-story building, which may end up, because if you built the whole hotel across the street and it didn't work, it's not going to work next door to the right. And therefore, it should not be allowed to be, and it's temporary. Well, these people, 130 men are going to be in that building. Where are they going to be during the day? Asking for handouts like the rest of the people on Flatbush Avenue? I get asked for so much money that I could be literally poor today. But this is not the thing. What's going to happen with that? We're going to allow them to build, so when we're in the homeless shelter, oh, this hotel is no good. We're going to put another homeless shelter right here on the corner. It doesn't belong on Flatbush Avenue. All the other shelters are off Flatbush Avenue. It's not for Flatbush Avenue, period. And I ask you, look at me when I'm talking to you. It doesn't belong here. It doesn't belong here, because I know I walk these streets every single day. I can tell you all the cracks, but I can tell you all the times along Duryea that I try to avoid it because I live right, I can see the police coming up and parking in front of that place every other day during the summer because there's either problems with the tenants, harassment, and people being abused that come to this theater.
All right. Thank you, Orlando. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Yvonne Murray, and I have resided here in Flatbush for 50 years. I live 6 blocks from where DHS is planning to put this single men's shelter, which was once used a couple of months ago as a migrant shelter. Now it's transferring over to a single men's shelter. I find that this is unconscionable for this area. When there is a shelter on 21 Duryea Place, which was once the home of Lomans. It started out as a group home. Somewhere along the line, it got transferred into a shelter. You gave your plan for being able to have these men under control, so to speak, because you're going to have all these resources. But those things never end up materializing. These men are on the street, and I have empathy. I have much empathy for the problem. We know there's a crisis in the city, but we cannot tolerate in this community another shelter at all. Everyone here, I'm so happy to see everyone here tonight because that's how serious this really is. And that's when the city's gonna give me $2 million for my property. You better not bring no shelter here.
Next, we'll have Reverend Hamblin, followed by Keon Allen.
Very good evening to everyone. I am the Reverend Sheldon Hamblin. I am director at St. Paul's Church in the village of Flatbush, 157 St. Paul's Place. And I am totally against this single men's shelter. I am in agreement with all the other speakers. I know what it feels like when I leave my residence on Albemarle Terrace, and when I get to St. Paul's Place, there's human feces, and I move it. It is not a good sight, and I think it is unfair for all the residents of this wonderful neighborhood. And what I would ask, I am curious to know and to see the faces of the owners of the shelter, just to see who they are. What I have come to realize is that these services, they are good and needed and necessary, but they have become a money-making venture. It is for profit. I don't know who you are. I got here late. And so to DHS, what would it look like if you were to come and speak to Pastor Thorrington, speak to me and other leaders? What would it look like if we were to give you these funds and the know-how to see whether it is feasible to have a shelter here, first and foremost? But the way you're doing it, it is disrespectful. I believe in the gospel of Jesus Christ that we should always tend to the poor and to the needy. But the way this is being done is irresponsible. I hope you will go back to the drawing boards and you will not bring the shelter as it is planned. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend. Yeah. Keon Allen. No, Keon Allen. Okay, all right, thank you. Next, we'll have, apologies for the mispronouncing, James Sannon. Okay. Followed by Arlene Pitterson.
So many years ago, when we was getting our first shelter in the neighborhood, I was opposed to it. And I remember then Representative Clark said, we had to do our fair share in helping people who are at their lowest point in life. And I turned my mind around and says, yes, that's what we should do. But after that, we have a second one that came in, and now you want to put a third one in. Why? We have our fair share already. We're doing our part. Why are we keeping acts doing more and more? You guys proposed some solutions, some services that you're going to give us. But those same services are at the shelter right now and is not working. Perfect it there, show us how it works there first, and maybe you could come back and ask us to put another one. Because I have daughters, I often have to pay cash for them to come home, even in the daylight time during the summer, because I don't trust them to walk through the neighborhood to get to the house. So it's not about the service. What you're telling us is lip service, because we know it doesn't work. You haven't perfected it there, so why don't we put more resources into that facility and make that work properly, and they become good neighbors in this community, so that we could maybe think about putting another one in there. But shoving it down our throats because we that type of demographic that you don't care about. Right. Show us it works first, and tell us we want to build upon that. But don't just give us this lip service. And as the gentleman said, 3 guards. What is that going to do? Where does that work? Show me where, in what facility, what framework that you guys have that what you propose did not cause problems in the community, and then let us talk. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Hello, my name is Arlene Pitterson. I am a born and bred resident of the neighborhood, and also I'm a part of Little Caribbean, which is the economic organization that has been bringing people to the neighborhood for the last 10 years. Bringing this into the first of all, Brooklyn is the second highest number, has the second highest number of beds for homeless in the city. Top is the Bronx. Third is Queens. There's something that's the same in all three of those boroughs. It has a high population of minorities.
That's right.
So we have a problem. This building has been here for 10 years and has brought world-class entertainment. Every person who comes here loves coming here. They hate the neighborhood. This should not be put in literally across the street from number one here and number two. Again, I am born and raised here. I remember when this building was gone. I remember not being able to even walk up and down Duria Place or Regents or anything because of the fact that it was bad. And now you can't walk up and down Duria Place because of the shelter that's there. The resources that are necessary right now is not about housing, it's about putting them into not about just putting them in a bed, it's about actual housing. It's about where's the next step. And if you keep putting them in a bed and not putting them into the next part of the cycle, which is an actual home, that's gonna be the problem. You keep perpetuating a cycle that isn't going to help. Little Caribbean has brought money and community into this neighborhood, just like a Chinatown, just like a Little Italy. It has brought people here from all over the world. And now to go ahead and bring this is going to hurt what we've been building.
All right. Thank you, Arlene.
Thank you.
Next, we have Shaylee Gandhi, followed by Phaedra Thomas.
Oh boy. I'm just gonna, okay, cool. Hi everyone, I'm Shaylee Gandhi. I'm a Flatbush resident, and I'm also a community organizer with Open Hearts Initiative, which works with the neighborhoods across New York City to build community between folks who are housed and unhoused. I'm going to keep this fairly short. This is my first community board meeting. But I just want to say that Open Hearts has had a lot of success coordinating programming in shelters and supportive housing across the city. And our members tend to be folks who are housed, and they've had very, very fulfilling interactions and relationships. And they've learned a lot about housing and the pitfalls of housing in the city through these relationships and through this programming. And I want to say that we are happy to work with the shelter provider. Wherever the shelter does end up, we're happy to work with them to try to build this programming and build bridges between the community and make sure that the shelter is a place that is integrated with the rest of the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Phaedra. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Phaedra Thomas. I'm a resident, but I also have experience with mental health shelters. I was an engagement coordinator for CAMPA for women's mental health and substance abuse for about almost 3 years. And I feel like you're giving the shelter residents a disservice. I don't know how, it feels like it's low-hanging fruit because, the migrant shelter and all of a sudden, okay, that's an open space. But I feel like there's a liquor store right there. You have all these other elements there, and you're setting them up for failure. We have done our part. We want to help people, but at the same time, it feels like it's disingenuous. We do so much, but yet we don't have our voices heard. These people need the same amount of care. You guys already, from disrupting the shelter system, they don't trust it. I've had people who have gone in the system 40, 50 years. I can't help them. One, they're not taking their medicine. You can't force them to. Once they leave the building, you can't harass them. Me and my mom ourselves have been attacked by a resident from the shelter from Coney Island and Beverly. You can call the police, but by the time they come, the incident already happened. You cannot rightfully say that you're setting these people up for something that's going to help the community. You can't. This is not the place, nor is this the atmosphere. You already have a shelter right there. You already have a shelter past Bedford. It's like you guys are just putting people in places for a service that you guys couldn't fix already. They need services, they need housing, they need people who care. And this right now is not caring. This is just placing them somewhere else. People with mental illness, they need structure, they need people they can count on, they need familiarity. And this is not. This is just shuffling them around. This is just telling them, okay, this is temporary, this is right here, but temporary turns into 10 years, temporary turns into 5 years, temporary turns into so many things, and they get lost in the system.
All right, thank you. Next we'll have Lisa Frederick, followed by Jason Hightower.
Come up to the mic when your name is called so that we can get more people heard. Mr. Hightower, if you get in line, get ready. Thank you for your
Good afternoon, everyone. So can I get the table members, the board members to kind of participate? How many of you have been able to go outside as a kid and play? Raise your hand. Seriously, raise your hand. You're not going to participate? You're here. Raise your hand. That's what that you're here to participate with this community. So I saw maybe 5 or 6 hands. Let me tell you something. I've lived in this neighborhood for all my life. My mother's lived in this neighborhood all her life. My grandmother's been here since the 70s. I've been able to play outside. I've been able to ride my bicycle. I've been able to do many things. My daughter is 9 years old, and she cannot. I walked down the block the other day and saw 2 small children playing for the first time outside in 10 years. And we have many children in the community. But we can't do that with this shelter. Why? Because last year alone, I walked outside and a man was passed out because he was overdosed across the street from my house, around the corner from the shelter. I tried to wake him up. I called the ambulance and I ran to the shelter to say, I think one of your gentlemen have passed out. That shouldn't be. They have so many things that they have job help, they have a place to find some, another home, they have psychological help. Yeah, it's not working. So to put another mental health facility for men across the street from what we just got, this beauty, we just got it. For years, this has been closed down. We just got this. We just got this. So why put something else to disrupt this community when you could be helping the community? Help what's there already. You have 2 shelters around the corner. Help them. Make them get better. Make them get a new home to be placed so somebody else can be there. Structure what you have first. You can't build on a foundation if it's shaky. So if that foundation around the corner is shaky and we have men outside and so many elderly neighbors that get bothered by them. We had 2 men sitting on my neighbor's porch the other day. And another neighbor had to go and chase them off. And they came from around the corner in the shelter. But yet you're doing your job. There's security. There's stuff to help them. There's stuff to give them things to do during the day, but they're outside. I don't know how many times, as you know, we can't make a left turn right here. I don't know how many times we were cut off because there's an ambulance, there's cops, there's a fight, there's the security guards who block
Thank you, Lisa.
the area.
I'll let you finish, but
Come on,
yeah.
you got to do something. You got to be better. You got to do better.
All right. Thank you.
Hey everybody, Jason Hightower, resident of CB14, speaking as a resident of Beverly. Just first and foremost, thank you, Community Board, for putting this together. Thank you, Councilmember Rita. Just a quick snapshot about myself. I've lived for about 20 years. Work in entertainment, been blessed and fortunate enough to be able to buy a home. As a freelancer, it's not an easy task, but I've been able to get there, and I'm thankful and blessed to be there. I've worked with my Beverly community that is here, and I appreciate everything they've taught me about Flatbush in my short time being here. And so with that, I'm saying that My purview for this community is already overburdened with responsibility of shelters. Adding another shelter less than 1 block away from 2 others feels irresponsible to us as residents. We've had multiple meetings with that shelter to get things to a stable place, and it's kind of touch and go as it is. Adding another to the system isn't great, to say the least, and it restarts years of work that is still in need of support. Within the same 3 years that I've lived here, through our own personal experience, I've had a house fire and I've bounced back from it with my family. We returned home, been able to move in, try to create a form of security and sense of safety for myself. And in that time, I've had the same person try to break into my house twice. Whether that is a person from the shelter, I'm not sure. But to say the least, that person was loitering around here, and now they know where I live. I've called the police, I've asked for help. They can't do anything until a crime is committed. So now the burden of safety and security is on myself. As a family, with my family here, I don't love that feeling. I don't think anybody here can say that they feel comfortable. They see the same person twice look at my home and try to find a way in. That being said, um, that being said, I don't want us to be reactionary to the situation. I don't want it to be a situation that one of us gets hurt and then it's like, oh, we should come up with a proper plan to then take care of us. We're saying it now as a community that this is not safe for us. This is not a smart move. I think there's a better way to use the resources and support what we already have happening. If we can please put that into play versus adding another place.
All right, thank you, Jason.
Thanks.
So we've been joined by Assemblymember Ronnie Bishop Harmlin. I'm gonna pass the mic for her to share some words.
No, no. it's okay. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you all for being here. My name is Assemblymember Rodney Bishop Hermlin. I represent this area. I've been doing this for some time. We are still in the middle of state budget negotiation. So there's a lot of back and forth, up and down from Albany to here. But I wanted to first thank everyone for being here. I want to thank Committee Board 14 for putting this together, along with Councilmember Rita Joseph, who's a hard-fought advocate here. Thank you, Sean, District Manager. Thank you, Gerald, Chair, and everyone for being here. I am here actually to listen, okay? To listen, okay? Because you know, we've been having lots of challenges as it relates to shelter across the city of New York. And there's been the notion of equity. Some communities are overconcentrated with shelters, while others are not touched. They're protected. And when I speak up, oh, you know, some people, oh, you know, Ranice, so why are you making a big thing out of it? Well, it's a big issue, obviously, because we're all here. We're here because we care about the safety of this community, but we also care about the people who are in need. What kind of real services are they getting? Real wraparound services. And I'm sure each and every one of us know that there is a need to help many of our residents here who's been pushed out of their home, who need a place to stay. The issue is when we're putting or when we're providing services, is this like a money thing where people are just opening up hotels or facilities just for the purpose of making money out of shelters? Yeah. I believe so. Or is this a very thorough thought process of really providing the services needed for a lot of these vulnerable constituents? And so, you know, usually in our communities, when we hear about a shelter, we hear it at the very end, where we really cannot do anything. And so what do? Do we rally? Do we protest? Do we, you know, we continue to work with our city council members, like Councilmember Rita Joseph and the mayor? What do we do? What do we do? So I'm here to listen and to collect all the different issues as it relates to our community. I was raised and born in this community all my life. I have a 3-year-old son too. I would like for him to be able to play in his neighborhood without the fear of, you know, something happening to him. You know, I would like to live in a clean area where, you know, sanitation department come in and clean our neighborhoods. I would like to be in an area where, you know, any type of crisis management issue or any type of crises, our communities are listened to. Gun violence, whatever it is. And so I'm here to listen. And we take all this feedback. Collectively, we'll work together to see what kind of solution. But I want to know, you tell me, like, is it too late? Why are we here? And why are we here at the very end? And is this a money thing? Assembly Member Rodney Bishop, my office is on Flatbush and Foster, right there. My Chief of Staff, Taisha Allen, is here. I am here. I'm going to stay for the rest of this, and I'm going to listen. And we're going to have to come up together, guys, because if we have to rally, we're going to have to rally. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, and I just want to give a round of applause for Flatbush. I know we're upset and we're pissed, but we're very respectful and we're good on time. So can we get a round of applause for that, please? Shout out Flatbush. Yes, yes, yes. Now we doing well. Have you signed? No. Yes. All right. Next we have Natse Madam Banyajo. Apologies for the pronunciation. Please correct me. And next and after followed by Stephen Cohen.
Okay, so I'm actually a 13-year-old that lives in this neighborhood. I moved about like 5, 6 years ago. I moved from like Coney Island and Foster. But since I've moved here, I really I love to hang out outside, but ever since I've kind of just been trapped in my room and and that's like a lot of like kids so far. Like I've heard like this 5-year-old kid is just running around in circles in his house, but he doesn't want to go outside. It may just be while his iPad is there, but it's also because maybe he doesn't feel safe there. Maybe like there's people walking around and his like legs get all jiggly and he's really nervous because what's gonna happen to him. And today I was just like explaining to somebody saying, and like I was arguing with my classmate because I go to school in Manhattan, and I was arguing with my classmate, and I was like, Brooklyn is better than Manhattan. Brooklyn's better than Manhattan, and he's like, no, what does Brooklyn have? And the most sad thing is that I thought of King's Theater because, of course, and this is actually my first time, which is kind of sad, but King's Theater and Coney Island. But then I also thought like, wow, like I couldn't really think because a lot of this vacant space is filled by these homeless shelters, and I'm so happy that we are like housing the community because they do need help. But it comes to a point, just because Brooklyn is the biggest borough doesn't mean we should have the most shelters. And and I'm just saying, like, the ferry's free, the Staten Island ferry is free, and more than why do I feel that I don't feel safe in my block. I don't feel safe on my stoop, but I only feel safe in my house. And why is that? I want to feel safe on my block at the least, you know? And like, why do I have to carry an alarm on my keys? Why do some people have to carry keychains, pepper sprays, even though they're illegal in New York City? But why why do I have to feel unsafe? You know what I mean? Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, Stephen Cohen. Stephen Cohen going once, going twice. It's funny enough, you're gonna be called soon.
Zenobia McNally.
Zenobia McNally, followed by Tony Williams.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, my Flatbush people. My first question is, why are we here again? The gentleman who was here before alluded to what happened 20 years ago, and I was part of that, actually was leading that, with a shelter that first came on Tilden Avenue. And the thing is, I was kind of sad that I didn't let Salvation Army do it because they probably would have done a better job. However, what happened after that? There's a shelter here, there's a shelter here, and a shelter here. 3 in a row. Now, granted, they're family shelters, so families stay together. But my thing is this, okay? At that time, we had 200 to 300 people coming to talk against these shelters, and they still materialized, all right? So my thing is now, the red roof is here. Let me ask you the real question. Are they already having the shelter? Is this just a show? What is this? A facade? Is that what it is? I mean, I want you to be truthful and honest to us, all right? I've lived here for more years than I want to admit right now, but I've seen changes in the neighborhood. I came here in 1965 when Sears was a beautiful thing, and the automotive was right behind me. They put up a beautiful wall, had grass all over, okay? Now, that's changed, and that's not a bad thing either, maybe. But the thing is, why do we always have to be the ones to have a shelter? And I'm asking this, and Ronnie say, the thing is, if we have 3 shelters because Bedford Avenue separates Community Board 17 from Community Board 14, just 3 little blocks, are they saying that those 3 shelters that are just in walking distance doesn't count towards the shelter that will be going over here? That makes no absolute sense, okay? That is an artificial boundary, and that should not be taken into consideration, although I'm seeing some yeses here, okay? And we need to make sure we're talking against that.
Thank you, Zenobia. Thank you.
Wait, I think you're going to do that. I know you're going to need that so to make sure. Oh, yes, the last question, as everybody's asked. Please tell me why Bay Ridge doesn't have any shelters?
Round of applause for that, please. Can we get a round of applause for that? Tony Williams, you're next. Followed by Alicia Boyd.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Tony Williams. I'm from Crown Heights, Crows Hill, and we're fighting a shelter coming up over there. So when I heard that there was going to be a shelter across the street from King's Theater, I had to come. You all know what happened to Batman's parents. They got killed coming out of the theater. Listen, this is the issue. Now, I heard you say that there's going to be security, but security is not going to be Mossad. So it's not. The security is not going. It's going to be just like Donald Trump's security, inexperienced. And at the end of the day, those people who have to leave during the day are going to be wandering, because we're not talking about the working class. We're not talking about the working men. We're talking about substance abuse people, chemical dependency people, and sometimes pedophiles. It's all in the mix. And we're talking about a lot of mental illnesses. It's all in the mix. And you're going to put it across the street from the King's Theater. So when people come out from having a beautiful night, drinking these expensive mocktails, now they got to hear, hey, you got $1, miss? It is not fair. And it seems like every time you put these shelters, homeowners' housing goes down. And it seems like that is the plan in the whole scheme of things. And it's not fair. It's not fair. And I think what you need to do is go hear everything that we said, go back to the drawing board, and let's go to Garrison Beach. Let's go to Mill Basin. Let's go to Bay Ridge. Let's go. Make it equal, because right now it's not equal. I'm a home health aide, so I can tell you it's not equal. And I have gone into many buildings where it has been homeless people who are housed, and I feel scared. And I'm too scared to carry mace. I might mace myself, trying to mace them, and you don't want to hurt them.
Thank you.
So I think we need to rethink this. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Alicia Boyd.
Hi, my name is Alicia Boyd. I'm a political activist on the border of Flatbush and Crown Heights. I turn my back on people like this. I don't give them the respect because they don't respect us. Okay? We have seen the same developer and we've seen the same pattern. They build these hotels, they come into our community, and then they do a switch and bait. And then we get nothing but shelters. Do you know what their boards are making? $250,000 to $300,000 a year. That's what project relief is. Renewal. That's what they make. This is about money for them. Okay, they pack up people. They know that when you put a concentration of all these men on top of each other, 130 men who have mental illness, you're gonna have shit happen. They know this. They know this. This is the facts. This is the truth. And they know it. They know the answer to this bullshit is to make these shelters small. Put 20 of them in there, in a big place. Give them their own apartments. Supervise them. But they don't do that because this is about money for these people. They come into the black community, they're always using us to make money. Since slavery in this fucking country, black people have been the source of income for the white upper middle class communities. And that's what these motherfuckers are. That's what they are. They come and destroy our fucking communities. They don't give a fuck about the fact that we have worked hard to maintain our communities, that we fought the drug pandemic, that we stood there and made our schools workable, that we fought hard. We didn't run to the suburbs. We stayed here. We made our communities desirable. And now they want to take that shit away from us because of money. That is nothing but fucking money. And let me tell you something, people. Don't go. Bashar gonna ask you what the fuck you gonna do. Like, shouldn't she know? That's your fucking assembly person. Shouldn't she know? Fucking get out there and protest. Go in front of the mayor's fucking office and say enough is a fucking enough. You're not gonna keep abusing us. If you do not organize people and go out there and let your voices heard, they're gonna do this.
Thank you, Alicia.
We are organizing in Flatbush, Crown Heights. You come with us. You be with us. You stand with us because we are fucking raging.
No, we're good. We're good. No, that's it. Next we'll have Carissa Alfonso.
Well, I don't know how to follow up after that one. But ditto. My name is Carissa. I am a lifelong resident of Flatbush since I moved to this beautiful community from Trinidad at the age of 1.5. And so many things were said today that I don't think that I need to echo, but it's important that we think to ourselves, why the connection between gentrification and homelessness is direct. And I sat in this very space in February of 2024 when the developers of Bedford Square were here talking about what they were gonna do. What they said they were gonna do and what they did, two completely different things. And I'm tired of people pissing on me and telling it's raining. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Yes, I believe in Maslow's hierarchy of rights. Everybody has of needs. Everybody has a right to food, water, shelter, love, all those things. But this community, hell no. No. People have done so much work to uplift the Caribbean community, and to really sit here and to continue to diminish our neighborhood is crazy to me. We have schools that's overflowing. We have schools that have annexes in this community. When you could take whatever space you have and make a green space for kids, or even give kids a building to learn in. We don't think about the school to prison pipeline or the school to homelessness pipeline. We're not addressing those kind of problems, but you want to sit here and put money into people. You want to, first of all, how did they even get the right to even build that there? There's 2 hotels on Church Avenue. Like, who is giving them the money? And then you say you listening, but aren't you supposed to be one of the people who's supposed to know what's going on in the beginning? Don't they have to go through you and other officials? Well, somebody's really gonna have to, somebody's really, not Miss Rita, I'm talking about, okay. I say all of that to say that we need to do better. I unequivocally disagree. I'm opposed to this thing.
Thank you, Carissa.
Find somewhere else to do it.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Michael B. Michael B. Apologies, I can't read the last name. Michael B. Followed by Arelise Rivera.
I just want to just address your concern. A lot of times people think that elected officials know, but they don't, okay? Because a lot of times when they do these projects, it's as of right, okay? And very often, especially development stuff, there's a city process. There's a city process that goes through the city, okay? Usually us, who in the state assembly or the state senate, we're up in Albany, we're usually the last people to know what's going on as it relates to the approval. No. So, right. So, and just like you all, believe it or not, just as the same time you get your notification, very often that's the same time that we get our notification. Yes.
All right. All right, we were doing pretty good. We have Michael B. followed by Arelise Rivera.
Thank you very much. My name is Michael B. I've been an employee of King's Theater since 2017. I am one of the individuals that works at the exterior of this building. A big question I have, perhaps rhetorical, Mr. Security, sir. You described in detail everything that these individuals would have to go through, metal detectors, scanners, so on and so forth, almost to the point where it's almost a little more than somebody getting on a plane at JFK. Did you not realize what goes on at the exterior? You're talking about in and out, and you're talking about 130 individuals that, quite frankly, this is not rhetorical. Where are they going to go when they leave the building? They are walking up and down the street, and when this theater puts on a show, you folks have no idea what goes on at the exterior with just the shelters that are presently here. Please, take into consideration the folks that want to enjoy this theater, what this represents, and what it does for the neighborhood and the environment, and what that will do to the neighborhood and the environment. Thank you very much.
Next, we'll have Arelise Rivera. Followed by Clark Dennis. Feel free to line up behind Arelise.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Okay, my name is Aralis Rivera, and I lived in the community over 40 years or more. But let me tell you, I have come out of my house to go to work in the morning. I worked 46 years for ACS. I get up every morning to go to work, and I have seen feces on my door because where I live is inside, and so people sometimes come in and sit in there because you can't see. I had to put one of those lights, like what you call it, sensor lights, because this way, motion sensor, yeah. Because this way, I know if somebody's there when I'm coming out. I've seen people having sex there. I turn on the light and they're like, oh my God, and they run it, and then early in the morning, and I'm coming out, like I say, you see the men, they're looking for cigarettes on the floor. You know what I'm saying? And they right in front of your house, and you can't come out because you're scared to come out. I came off of Accessoride the other day, and there was a man sitting right in front of my gate, rolling up a blunt. Rolling up a blunt. I had to call my son-in-law to come outside so he could come and get me so I could go in the house. And he had to go and tell the guy, yo, out. You know what I mean? And this happens all the time. It's not like just, so imagine you coming out of your house early in the morning, you know what I'm saying? And you going to work. You don't want to see feces. You don't want to have to tell somebody, go away, you know. You don't, it's just not fair. And these kids, we don't have a park. There's no park, there's no nothing. Why they couldn't build something and that like a boy and girls club right there or something. Something where they could be productive. Because if not, we're gonna lose our kids. They might be the next ones in these, mental health places. There's nothing else there. So please think about that. Think about when you have to go to work. Think about when you come home. You don't want to be facing that, right? So thank you. Anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Chaos is commerce.
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Clark Dennis. I live over 22nd Street, the Kendall. And I'm going to echo some of the things the last two speakers said. The sex, the PCs, and if you're not finding stuff on them when they come through security, it's because probably it's in my front yard. Knives, drugs. I've gotten tired of picking it up. And I'm a New York City educator, and I teach career and tech ed. So I have one question, because I don't want to go harping on because you've heard all this, but what are we doing to train these people for employment? And that's my business, and I'm asking a question, and I'll wait for the rest of my time.
I can only speak for Project Renewal. but
Okay.
For our programs, we have a workforce development program.
Mm-hmm.
We currently have a culinary arts training program.
Okay.
We also have a maintenance and residential aid training program. And we have a mental health training program for people with lived experience who work at New York City hospitals,
Mm-hmm.
providing care to people with mental illness.
Okay. Are folks in these shelters here enrolled in them? Do we know?
I don't run those shelters, so I don't know.
Okay. Well, that is if you ask me, that's the heart of the issue is these people don't have a job. And if we could fix that.
We agree with you at
Okay,
Project
so
Renewal. We do. That's why we
please
have
take that
an
into
integrated
consideration.
set of services.
Thank you.
We're going to have time at the end to hear closing remarks from DSS and Project Renewal, but we're going to keep it going. We're actually doing really good. We're going to try to get to everybody. Next, we have Russell Washington, followed by Nora Livingston.
Hello. Hello, everyone. I'm Russell Washington. I'm Kendall's brother. I've been in this neighborhood since 1976. I'm trying to understand the bigger plan. What's the plan? So I think about, they talk about gentrification. And it's simple. The pattern, the play gets run every time. You build something, and then everything rallies around that thing, right? So we talk about the Barclays Center, built the Barclays. Then everything rallies around it, right? Even Jay-Z kicking out people that's not even homeless, regular residents, kicking it out to build around this big thing. So here we are, King's Theater. We got our big thing. What are we rallying around it? Shelters. So the prime real estate for this big thing, you're giving the shelters. Somebody help me understand that. That's it.
Hi, everybody. I'm Nora Levinson. I am new to the community. I've moved here a little over a year ago in actually what used to be Miss Kim's house over on Beverly Road. And I just want to speak on behalf of the new residents. You know, maybe you're not feeling particularly welcomed here, but I do want to say this is one of the most welcoming communities I've ever been a part of. You know, my wife and I and our almost 3-year-old child, we were a little bit nervous to move here. This is a Caribbean community, and we wanted to make sure that people knew, you know, we didn't want to be here changing things and be friendly. And everybody here has gone above and beyond to be welcoming. You know, Miss Kendall came over with, you know, a special little thank you for when we put up Christmas lights. I'm out in the front yard gardening. People are coming by and, you know, giving me advice on what to do so I don't kill all our plants. You know, like, this is an amazing community, and people have lived here their whole lives. We've met people who've lived here since the 70s, the 60s, the 50s, and, you know, they don't want to move and they want to raise their children here. And we want to raise our child here too. And that's why we moved here. You know, we lived in the East Village for 13 years, and I know more people in less than 13 months living here than I did for 13 years living in the East Village. But the East Village has resources, and they just successfully sued to stop having a shelter opened in their neighborhood that was an overflow from the same shelter that's being closed on West 30th Street. So instead, we get them, right? So my former neighborhood, where people had more resources, was able to successfully use those resources to retain lawyers and to stop folks. And now here we are in this community where within, you know, like we said, 1 square block, we already have 3 facilities. So it's not a question of this community not being welcoming to unhoused folks. As many folks have said, they've done more than their fair share over decades, and in particular over the past 5 years since the pandemic. So it's really just a question of when is the city going to be treating the community here with the respect that they deserve. So we can all raise our families together in what I've, in this very short time, come to see is an amazing place. So
Thank you, Nora. Next, we'll have Jasmine Cox, followed by Sherma Rossler.
Hello, I'm really bad at public speaking, so bear with me. My name is Jasmine Cox. I am the GM of Crunch Flatbush, right across the street, where a lot of these lovely people spend their time and money. The biggest thing for me is just we provide health, fitness, wellness, and all of these great things that I think the community seems to enjoy. We've been right next door to the hotel when it was Vibe, and it was pay by the hour, when it was housing refugees, and we will be there when and if this shelter becomes a thing. And I don't think you guys are the ones spending your time there and have to be there and interact with the loitering and then the negativity that comes with it. And all of these people are telling you all of the reasons why it shouldn't be a part of the community. And if you don't listen to the people that are spending their time in the community, then how are you doing something that's as positive as you may think it is? Everyone deserves a home. People deserve to be housed, but I think there are plenty of other space in this borough or 4 other boroughs that we can find a space for them to be. We're 150 feet or 400 feet from another shelter. We'll be 400 feet from this shelter, and I just don't think it's the best option. Between us and King's Theater and this deli next door and Taco Bell, we're right smack between two shelters of just people who just may not be in the best space in their life, which we're getting all the backlash for all of it. So ideally, if we could make that change, that would be great. If you guys could just hear out the people who pay their tax dollars to be here and want something else, that would be great.
Hello, my name is Shoma Rugier. I am a resident of this community. I've been here since 1993. I bought my house. I raised my son, my nieces, my sisters, and we live really good here until they put a shelter in the back of my yard. My husband go outside to go and clean the yard where they're throwing things at him, calling him a nigger. I went to the shelter to tell them about it. They said they can't do anything. I called the police didn't do anything. We are afraid to go out in our own backyard where I work 3 jobs to have my house. And now we are afraid to go in the back. I know you're going to tell me you're putting mental people to come here again. So what is going on? Right in my backyard. They said it's only for a short time. I was there for the first one until then. I was there for the second one until then. And now one in Albany is in my backyard. And it's still going on. And my sister, who live in down on Beverly, had to be running off people from coming and defecate in her driveway, having sex in her driveway. I had it at one time, but at least thank God I put on cameras so we get rid of them. It's not fair. I work too hard. I worked with mentally retarded people. And that is the reason why right now I am not working, because of the violence. This is not right. It is not right. Find somewhere else. 3 of the shelter back to back. When somebody else gonna get theirs? Come on.
Thank you, Sharma.
Maybe you should keep it a hotel since everybody's having sex. Maybe you should keep it a hotel.
Next, we'll have Jody Singh, followed by Kirill Blackman. Jody Singh. Jody Singh. Okay. All right, cool.
Well, listen, $25 an hour can make some money if they're having sex all the time.
Hi guys. So I live right here on 22nd Street. Bill, Kendall, they're all my neighbors. I grew up in this neighborhood in the sense like I moved here when I was 12 years old. So I've seen a lot of changes in this short little block, right? Now I'm raising my kids in this neighborhood. And the things I used to do, like being outside, playing on the sidewalk, my kids aren't allowed to do. Every summer, there's people from the shelter that lingers on our block, doing drugs in front of the police, nothing is done. Having sex, when I've gone on vacation, come back to my house, there's homeless people literally inside by our basement. Okay? They're literally opening our gates. I've stopped people from going into my neighbor's mailbox. People from the shelter opening their mailbox to check their mail. Okay? I don't feel safe in this community anymore. Why don't you guys keep the shelter in your community? Our children deserve a chance to grow and feel safe in this community. I have 2 little girls. I've seen guys from the shelter catcalling little teenagers. You wouldn't want it for your kids. Don't do it to ours. It's not fair. There's many other neighborhoods that can hold that shelter. Do not put it here. It's not fair.
Thank you. Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Kirill Blackman. I'm also a board member of FAN, Flatbush Allies. I'm here to say that we also do stuff for the community. We had a block party, and our block party got disrupted by some people from the shelter. It was a mess. It even took some of us to move there's children there. We had to get all the adults together to kind of keep them away, and we kept asking them to move until the police got there. But even at our own block parties that we're doing for our communities to bring ourselves together, it's being disrupted. I've been here, I wasn't born here, but I was also raised here for all my life. I went to school at Erasmus Hall High School, and the change is great, but it's going to be very devastating. Here, even for me coming to shows now, the last time I came to a show, I had to stand on the corner, and there was a group of men at the corner smoking, drinking, doing everything, and the line is right here, and they're right here, and we have to continue our line like this to not be touched, to not be groped or even spoken to, just disrespectful. So I feel like you guys already planned what you planned for, but it's just not gonna be it's not gonna be great here in our neighborhood. Thank you.
Next, we'll have Estelle from Vanderveer Block Association, as well as John Harrison. Or
Good evening to everybody. My
evening.
name is Estelle. I live on East 23rd Street, so I'm representing Vanderveer, East 23rd Street Block Association, East Vanderveer Place, East 23rd Block Association. And it seems to me that this is a done deal for most of you guys. That you really don't give a fat rat's behind about what goes on in our neighborhood with our people. We have an oversaturation of shelters. We don't have enough police to police the shelters. We don't have enough people at the 7-0 that stay long enough to stay in the neighborhood because when we start garnering relationships with our community liaisons from the 7-0, next thing you know, they're gone. So you cannot keep giving us your crap and your shit because we don't want it anymore. You bring all these shelters in the neighborhood. You've devalued my home, but you've raised my taxes. You call this a business district, but my section of Flatbush don't get lights. It stops at Catalu and then picks back up at Glenwood, so the people in the middle, who we have to pay the extra taxes for the business district, we don't get it. To my elected officials, I would like y'all to be a little bit more present if possible. Stop the hotels from opening in our neighborhoods. Because when you open up the hotel downtown Brooklyn, they're not all shelters. When you open up the hotels in blue-collar, working-class neighborhoods, they're shelters. They're shit shows, and I don't want my children constantly walking by this. Now, most of my children are grown now, and they're moving out, but I have grandchildren that are coming in. I'm not moving out of the neighborhood. I was born and raised in Brooklyn. I was born and raised in Bed-Stuy. Bed-Stuy has been regentrified. They don't have as many shelters as here, and the type of shelters that they have, you're a little bit more considerate because most of the time when you see the brownstone shelters, you don't even know it's a shelter. How do I know this? Because as a person who worked for the phone company for over 37 years, I walk into them and I'm like, oh my God, this is a shelter? I didn't even know this was here. But you know the shelters in this neighborhood because the people are always loitering. I can't even walk to work. I go to work in the daytime, Flatbush is filthy. I go to work at night, Flatbush is filthy. You got people all the time begging. You got a guy who's been here for over 10 years on Regents in a wheelchair in the middle of the street begging. Over 10 years. I drive by him all the time. This has got to stop.
Thank you, Estelle.
Give us more police resources. Police the shelter that's around the corner. Let the cops stay up out there all day, every day. Because if you have the police there, then maybe the people won't be staying around there shooting up, and maybe people can then walk down the street. Maybe the guy who owns the bar in the corner can have his business thrive, and maybe we can walk through this portion of Flatbush Avenue and feel a little bit more safe.
Thank you, Estelle. Next, we have John Harissa.
First off, I want to thank Councilwoman Joseph, Assemblywoman Bichot Hemlin, you, Mr. Gray, Ms. Campbell, my esteemed colleagues from my department, the Department of Social Service, the Department of Homeless Services, and Project Renewal. I can only say that everything I've heard come before me, starting with the well-spoken individual before me, and those going back to the beginning of the public speaking, I would reiterate. And I thought at this point and at this time, not to waste anybody's time, what could I add of value? And it's simply this. With 38 years in the department, where I started housing homeless families from welfare hotels and from Tier 2 shelters, 11 years as the director of the Drug Tracking and Reporting Unit, and my years in procedures where right now I am engaged in assisting the Department of Homeless Services with a procedure about security, expectations, training, roles, and responsibilities, with all due respect to Project Renewal, because I understand not what they're doing here. I'm not going to lie about that, but I know their role with other shelters, with other programs, for the populations that most likely will be at this shelter, with residential. It's, with all due respect, Mr. Security, it's not about what your men, whether they are 3, which are clearly what you have to do but are not robust enough. It's about what will happen outside. My colleagues from the Vanderveer Place Block Association, of which I am the junior partner at 66 with my partner of 40 years, and my neighbors of Flatbush, this great neighborhood that we were lucky enough to buy into after 30 years in Fort Greene, I saw the same thing, with all due respect, with other providers in Fort Greene. They came in, the neighborhood got flooded to the point where when I was a Community Board 2 member, we had a moratorium on social services because we had 20 providers, 24 providers of one type or another, just on Clinton Avenue between Myrtle and Atlantic. The problem here, folks, is not about whether or not the provider cares, whether or not my department has vetted this out.
Thank you, John.
The problem is that we have a need to take care of the homeless, but once again, time and again, the department not having the ability and not having the funding to do a thorough analysis will always dump the hardest populations into hotels in communities of color in which the police department, with all due respect to everyone who has mentioned things that were unfortunate that happened and the response of our officers, are ill-equipped to deal with simply by numbers.
John, I'm gonna need you to wrap up, please.
I will. Mr. Gray, with all due respect, the thing that I haven't heard people say so clearly, I will try to say succinctly. This neighborhood does not, ladies and gentlemen, before me and my neighbors of much superiority and seniority in this neighborhood behind me, this neighborhood does not have the ability on the numbers, on money, on resources, on security, on safety, on parks, on education, to absorb this needy population.
Thank you.
I thank you all, and I would ask my department, I would ask my sub-department, the Department of Homeless Services, I would ask the provider to reconsider and understand that whatever good work would come out of this for the individuals will, by and large, have a detrimental effect on this neighborhood that is really not needed. Thank you.
Yep. All right, we're reaching the last 10 minutes of our public hearing. Before I pass it back over to DSS as well as Project Renewal, I want to thank John Leroy for helping us record tonight's meeting. If you go on the CB14 Brooklyn website, you should have a live recording in addition to all of our other public hearings, community board meetings, as well as our committee meetings. Thank the King's Theater again for opening up their space for us. And then just want to remind everyone, CB14 will accept additional written testimony up until 3 p.m. on Monday, May 11th, just before our regularly monthly meeting, which I should see all of you at, Monday at 7 p.m. at East Midwood Jewish Center, where you could hear more and continue the conversation about our work and stay engaged. So a couple people have submitted written testimony, so I just want to read out their names and catch it for the record. We have Betsy Fuller, Nick Shuranine, Nina Day Roderkus, Arjona Adani, Julia Charles, Eleanor Nussbaum, and these are all CB14 residents. Victoria Wolflop lives in Flatbush. Jason Hightower. I think we got everyone. All right. Oh, yep. And then Paul Foch. So now I'll pass it over to DSS and Project Renewal for any closing statements.
So thank you all for your participation tonight. We've been listening and taking notes, and we're definitely going to take this back. Everything that you said, Yuri and myself and Abigail have been documenting, so we've paid close attention, and we appreciate your thoughtful comments and participating in this meeting. Just to be clear, we've notified on shelter in every council district. That includes some of the districts that you were in Staten Island and other districts that you were pointing out. So if those districts don't have shelter currently, they will very, very soon. We're committed to being good neighbors and working with the community to address quality of life concerns. We hear your concerns about the shelter in close proximity to this place, and we're working to address those concerns as well. Our job is to move folks out of shelter as quickly as possible. We work to stabilize folks with wraparound services and ultimately connect them to vouchers and supports that they need to transition to permanency. We're helping them look for permanent housing and move out within 9 to 12 months. Our hope is that with programming and intensive services, we're able to avoid the kind of quality of life issues that you all are concerned about. And finally, just to clarify a couple of other points, our clients are not required to leave shelter during the day. They are engaged in programming and supports to help them move out of shelter. There's also a curfew, so the concerns about people, the curfew.
Hey, can we please? I hear y'all. Flatbush. I hear y'all. Flatbush. I hear y'all. I want to give him the space to finish, please. We've been talking on. I just want to give him the space to finish.
Thank you. Clients are not required to leave shelter during the day. They're not required to leave shelter during the day. They are engaged in programming and supports to help them move out of shelter.
Curfew's at 11
Curfew is at 11 p.m.
All right, we're at the.
Two of y'all are already on the community advisory board for 21 years. Y'all
You sure? You guys good? We all right. We're gonna we're gonna take one more community member. We have Jofrane Lagonde. We'd love for you to come up and speak. One more community member, please. Yep. Hey, please,
Okay.
can we give a round of applause? Can we give a round of applause for that, please? Can we give her a round of applause? All right,
Good
now we have
evening.
one more response from a community member.
Good evening. My name is Jofrane Lagonde. I was literally born and raised in this community. I serve a lot on the community board. I am also a board member on the FDC organization who supports and helps the neighborhood and beyond. Okay. Being born and raised here, the amount of things that I had to see growing up, it's not to where it used to be, but to see the homelessness that riddles the neighborhood that my children, she literally goes to Erasmus and she really wanted to say her piece in terms of what she has to walk through in the morning already here in this neighborhood.
Okay, so every morning there's people either sitting outside butt booty naked or just doing drugs. I can't walk past Crunch because there's people sitting there smoking or doing weird stuff in general. I have to walk around cars to get to school. I can't go down certain blocks because there's people smoking, doing drugs. I can't put up certain hand signs because there's people who think I'm in a gang. Like, I shouldn't be having to go through that because, like, I'm a child. Like, I give money to people and people, oh, you have more money? People walk. They just sit.
Flat Flatbush, we were doing so good. Please, can we have the youth member please finish? Please, can we have her? Let's be respectful, please, and let her have her finish. Please, thank you.
Okay, and I don't want to hear because like my friends and me have to fear to walk down somewhere because there's people asking for money. If we don't give them money, they walk with us. Like that can't happen. And we have to fear for our lives. We shouldn't have to fear for our lives in general. This is our community.
Thank you. Round of applause for that, please.
Thank you. She's 12 years old and she's had to go through this for the past 2 years that she's been in junior high school and elementary school. She went to PS6, which you support, and now she's at Erasmus in one of the junior high schools. And I have an older one as well who literally walks around further than she needs to walk because she just doesn't want to go through the gauntlets of homelessness and just foolishness that they have to go through in the mornings. They literally have to talk on the phone with me or their father or their grandmother while they walk to assure that they get there safely. If I don't get a call from them from school, I'm going to their school to make sure that they're there safely because of the gauntlets of nonsense that they have to walk through. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so I want to thank the members of the public for coming out tonight. This is what community looks like, and I hope that y'all not only have heard us, but you are listening to us. All right, we are a prideful people. People engaged in our neighborhood, people that have lived there for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, even the people that just got here, 60 years. And 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 I is it a done? Is the shelter coming? You don't know? She said yeah. Yuri. Yeah. Yuri. Or no? or now, or not.
That's not fair. Black and brown people try to communicate with you. You work for us. I take those your salary.
Can we get a round of applause for that, please? All right, so look, as you can hear, we are a neighborhood. We are a neighborhood. We are a neighborhood facing gentrification, displacement, under-resourced. They tried to close down our hospital, SUNY Downstate. And as you heard from our community tonight, don't overburden us. So once again, CB14 will be making sure all of your remarks get successfully transmitted over to DSS. We are accepting written testimony until 3 p.m. on Monday, May 11th, the mayor's office. And it is 8:32 p.m. and this is the end of our meeting. The meeting's adjourned.